Hello everybody and welcome or welcome back to the second shelf and to kind of a new thing that I want to try out, a new kind of video idea, video series. I love lists, first of all. You know that if you follow my channel, 1001 books I have to read before I die. But in general, I'm a list person. And I also love the videos at the end of the year, you know, when people talk about their favorite books and their favorite nonfiction and their favorite historical fiction and what have you. And I was thinking, when I combine these two, I can't only talk about favorite books in December. I can talk about backlist books or books that I love. I mean, I do the tops and flops by my monthly reads, but, you know, books that I've read a long time ago, when I love historical fiction or books about mental health that I really loved. So I was thinking, starting a new kind of video series once every month or once every 2 months about some favorites of mine. I always find it hard to come up with the favorite books of all time. That's a tough one. But if we limit ourselves to contemporary fiction, so not classics. I mean, I can make a video about my favorite classics, yes, for sure. But if I limit myself to contemporary fiction and then pick a theme or some aspect of books that I really love, I can make videos about that. And I hope you enjoy them. So today I will start off with 7 favorite books because of the favorite female characters. And again, no classics. It's all contemporary because otherwise it's just getting too complicated for me. So this was the public service announcement. Let's get into the book. 7 books with favorite female characters. And the first one is Shadow King by Mahsa Mengiste, published in 2021. Mahsa Mengiste is an Ethiopian author, and this is historical fiction set during roughly the time of the Second World War, 1930s, 1940s, when Mussolini invaded Ethiopia, and war was raging there. And the woman, one of the central figures in this war is Hirut. She was a maid, more or less. I'm not going to spoil her background and upbringing. And when war came, she and other women wanted to participate and not only, you know, feed the man, but be warriors. I really, really love this. I love the language, the various perspectives it gives, the historical outlook, but especially I loved Hirut and the women in the book. So The Shadow King, with Hirut as one of the main characters, is my first book I want to present as favorite female character. Another historical fiction set quite a bit earlier in the 17th century is this one, The Illumination of Ursula Flight by Anna Marie Crowhurst, published I think 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2018. And The Shadow King was 2019. I think I said 2021, but who cares? I mean, it's not that important. Anyway, so this is historical fiction set in the 17th century, centered around Ursula. She is a very intelligent woman, determined child. She wants to learn, and her father, unlike what was normal, quote unquote, in the time, actually gave her somewhat of an education. But of course, then she was a teenager and she was married off to some horrible guy. And it's her journey to find herself as a writer, because that's what she does. That's what she wants to do. During that time period, the book is partly written as a kind of diary form, but it has also snippets of plays that she writes. It was just delightful. The book is a delight. not only the cover is a delight, but the book is a delight. And Ursula, I love her character. This a strong woman, but not, ha ha, I'm strong. She's struggling. And she doesn't mind telling me that she's struggling. So she's not putting on a brave face or anything, but she is determined. She has this core of self-determination in her. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It talks about very freely about sex, about having children, about having your period, all that in the 17th century. Ursula is fantastic. We stay with kind of, it's funny, a lot of them are historical fiction, at least the first 3 are. And that next one is Things in Jars by Jess Kidd, also published not that long ago, 2019 as well. This is, like I said, historical fiction set in London, 1863. And we have Bridie Devine, the finest female detective of her age, which is unusual, of course, at the time, in the mid-19th century, to be a female detective. And she is fabulous. She is, again, a strong-willed female character, also physically strong. And not, she wants to solve this horrible crime about children, something. I'm not going to spoil the plot, but she also is, she has the same determination. She gets into fights and she doesn't really care how she looks. So it's not this typical, your pretty female detective who is running around in those pretty clothes and trying to, be Sherlock Holmes. No, she is a tough cookie. Not always likable, I would also say. And there are a couple of other female characters in the book that are fantastic. Her, housekeeper, for instance. There are also ghosts. There are always ghosts when you read Jess Kidd. And you know me, I'm not into that stuff at all normally. But with Jess Kidd, she can pull it off and I love it. But I especially love Bridie Devine, the female character. It's just such a delight to follow her on her journey trying to solve this mystery. The next one is quite a different kind of, for me, favorite female character, because she's not like in these first 3, you would call them heroines, maybe. This one, Daisy, is not a heroine. And I'm talking about the Stone Diaries by Carol Shields that, as you can see from the horrible printed on sticker, won the Pulitzer Prize in 1995. I love Carol Shields. She is an underrated author. One of those underrated authors like Christine Stead, for instance, that they write fantastic books and are hardly talked about, forgotten as soon as they're gone from writing or something. I don't know. But anyway, this is the book about one woman, Daisy, from her birth till her death. It's told in the beginning in the first person, but then it switches to third person, and it's fantastically written, quiet language about this very, very ordinary life of a woman born in 1905. So it's the 20th century, beginning of the 20th century, and she dies, let me check, I could have done that before, in the 1990s. So it's a long life. It's the most part of the 20th century, but it's not a quote-unquote big life. It's a quiet life, told in quiet language about her marriage, her love, her work, children trying to find her way, but it's nothing special. Don't expect any, heroic acts or, I don't know. It's just the regular, ordinary female life. And Daisy is fantastic. And the writing is fantastic. And I could also put this on one of my favorite books of all time. If you talk about contemporary fiction, it's wonderful. It's just amazing. So highly recommend the Stone Diaries by Carol Shields. And then on to quite a kind of different female, Flora 717. I mean, the date alone, the number 717. It's my birthday. So, and of course, I'm talking about The Bees by Lalin Paul. Look at that fantastic cover. This book was published in 2014. So it's mainly contemporary 21st century fiction. Anyway, who cares? It's female characters. Flora 717 is a sanitation worker. Yes, because the whole book, most of the book, except for the very beginning and the very end, that's all I'm going to say, is takes place in a beehive. And we learn about the workers like Flora who have a specific task, but Flora is different. And that is a problem if you live in a beehive, because she can do more maybe than just be a sanitation worker. And like I said, that is a problem, especially for the queen and the hierarchy. And I love this book. It's not sci-fi, really. Some people, I've seen it, some critics qualify it as sci-fi. It's not, and it's certainly not fantasy. It's just, a dystopian tale, maybe fable. You could call it a fable set in a beehive with one particular female bee in the center, Flora 717. But there are a lot of other females, of course, because most of the characters, especially, around the queen, are female bees. And I love the story of finding your way if you don't really fit in with what society thinks you should do or should be. I think a lot of us can relate to that, especially women, I think, but I'm sure that there are also men out there who don't fit with what society expects to do, of them to do. And it's also a very good story because there is a plot that is the red thread through the book. But I will certainly never forget Flora 717 and her journey literally through the beehive. Wonderful, wonderful book. Next one, I don't have that much translated fiction, I have to admit, but I have one, Muriel Barbary, The Elegance of the Hedgehog, translated, no, it's not, I thought it said it on the cover, but it doesn't say it on the cover, translated from the French by Alison Anderson, published in 2006 in France and in 2008 in the English translation. This is a book set in an apartment, a complex, no, how do you say that, an apartment house? Is it a complex? Apartment building. Thank you very much, Blurb, for helping me find my words. It's an apartment building in Paris. And I don't know whether you have ever been to Paris, whether you're familiar, but even to the day, they still have in the more high-end apartment buildings, they have concierges. So in the basement or in the ground floor, you have a small little office where the concierge lives. And a lot of time, a female, she's responsible, to don't let people in if they are not living or visitors. So the main character in this book is a 14-year-old girl living in the apartment, and she has serious issues. because she wants to kill herself. That's not a spoiler. You will learn that right away. But the main character, female character, grown-up female character that I really loved was the concierge, Renee. She and what's the girl's name? Paloma, I think. Yeah, Paloma. They get to know each other, and plot ensues from there. It's a sad story also. It's not a, you know, everything is going to be rainbows and unicorns kind of story, but it's still delightful, I felt. And it made me smile, even though it was sad. Especially our main character, Renee, who has hidden qualities, because she is not just quote unquote a concierge. Yeah, I loved the story and I loved Renee. So The Elegance of the Hedgehog, if you're looking for this type of female character, a wonderful book. And the last one, we go back to historical fiction again, this time from an author, an Australian author, Pip Williams, The Dictionary of Lost Words. And we travel to the beginning of the 20th century when the Oxford Dictionary was made. Motherless and irrepressibly curious, Esme spends her childhood in the scriptorium, a garden shed in Oxford where her father and a team of lexicographers are gathering words for the very first Oxford English Dictionary. And Pip Williams draws a female character, Esme, from her childhood through her life, interested in words, interested in language, and especially the lost words, the words that are related to the female life, to female worries, or to female bodies. And the book is a delight. Again, it's more of a bit of a sad story also at times, but I really loved Esme as a main character. I'm drawn to books about language anyway, so this was wonderful. By the way, this was a gift from the wonderful Raven Parlour bookstore in Australia, because I couldn't get it here in Europe when I wanted to read it when it first came out a couple of years ago. Did I already tell you when it comes out? 2020. So she sent me this book. Thank you again. I will leave a link to the bookstore down below. So those were 7 books with 7 amazing female characters that I really loved. I hope you like this idea for this new kind of video series. We're going to do it chill, so you know, maybe every other month. We'll see. Anyway, let me know whether you like this idea. Whether you have ideas for favorites. I'm looking forward to your comments as always. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon in the next one.